You ready to do this?
Sure.
Okay, let's do it.
All right.
Trekaholic.
And welcome back to Trekaholic. I'm here once again with my friend from Vancouver, Canada, Brent Japp. Hey, Brent.
Hi there. How you doing, Albie?
Good. Happy Star Trek Day. This is a cool, exciting day. Wow. This is
Now,
Christmas for geeks and nerds.
So what makes it Star Trek Day? Is this the anniversary?
September 8th, 1966. I should know this, right? 54-year anniversary of the first episode of Star Trek airing, The Man Trap. That's the one with the salt vampire.
Ooh, which was referenced last week's episode of Lower Decks.
Which was pretty awesome. I got that right away, and so did my kid. So that means I'm doing a good job as a nerd parent. She's like, play the one with the salt vampire again. I'm like, why? It's good, but not that good. But she likes it, so. She's like, wow, Star Trek's older than you. I was like, yes. Something is, right? So, yeah, 54 years we've had Star Trek in our lives. What do you think about that?
It's awesome. It's my whole life, so.
Yeah. So, what year were you born, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 82.
82. Wow. So.
Carry the two.
Yeah, so maybe Star Trek, the motion picture had come out, of course. Maybe Star Trek 2? What year was Star Trek 2? 82?
Could have been.
82 or 83?
Star Trek 5 or 6 was 5. That was with the same time as Next Gen.
Okay.
So somewhere.
What was the first Star Trek film you saw in the theater?
I saw Generations.
Okay.
So all the way from Generations to Nemesis, I saw all 4 of those, I guess.
The first one I saw in the theater was Star Trek 4, or as most of the world calls it, the one with the whales.
The one with the whales.
Yes. So the other ones I saw on VHS, HBO, things like that, before we had access to everything.
My wife has very little interest in Star Trek. I always feel like I'm going to try to introduce her to the one with the whales.
Dude, everybody, people don't want to watch Star Trek, but then they watch the one with the whales, and they're like, this is awesome. So, okay, so part of Star Trek Day was, I don't know if you were aware, but there's a pandemic going on. So San Diego Comic-Con was canceled in person, so they did a online event, and it seemed to work out okay.
Yeah,
and
Comic-Con at home.
Comic-Con at home, which I watched a lot of, but it was weird that there were a lot of the panels were just like those panels that you walk by and you go, oh, that's interesting if I had time, but I want to see this panel. But they were all there, so you couldn't miss any of them, but some of them were missable. And then DC did, what was it called? The Thunderdome or the DC Dome or something, where it was just all DC stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah, and then I guess Star Trek was like, hey, we got something. So
it's a neat mindset. What's going to happen in the long-term future? Are we going to continue doing these streaming online or share the panels after the fact?
I was thinking about that because I actually enjoyed the online panels more so than the in-person panels. The good thing about the in-person panels is you're like, wow, like Brent Spiner's right there. Michael Shanks is right there, you know? And like you can interact with them for 20 seconds and get a picture for $50 to $100. But what I like better about the panels being online was we had actual professional hosts. And not just moderators, but a lot of times the moderators ask the audience to ask questions. And in every single panel, there's always at least one, but sometimes 5 just awkward questions that people don't know how to ask, or they're not even asking a question. And if they end up asking a question, they ask something that has been answered 20,000 times. And you're like, you know, you had a chance to ask something new. It's new to them, probably. They're new fans, and nothing against them or any difficulties they have in asking questions. But it's just like, oh my goodness, you just prompted that story again.
Or you hear, what's your favorite episode?
Yeah. And they're just like, oh, jeez. You know, and people like me that'll watch every single panel that they're ever in. They know most of the stories already. So that's one of the things I liked about this. You didn't have those cringe moments, but also we heard a lot of things in these panels that aren't the normal stories they tell at every single convention.
That's
So
true.
I found that interesting. And I just want to give a big shout out to the host. What do you think of Will Wheaton and Micah Burton, was it?
Mika Burton.
Mika Burton, LeVar Burton's daughter. I thought she did
Yeah.
amazing. Will Wheaton's always awesome, but I first time I knew about LeVar Burton's daughter.
Yeah, I didn't even know who she was. I saw the name, and I'm like, I wonder who she is. And I search it. I'm like, the first thing Google says is LeVar Burton's daughter. I'm like, oh.
And she's living at home, or at least she was shooting at home, or maybe they're quarantining together, whatever.
Yeah.
I like the part where they green screened or blue screened, keyed out her room color. What was that, the Voyager panel?
Yeah, I think it was Voyager panel because she had the blue. So I think it was Tuvok there. Tim Russ commented on that.
And then they did it. So I was under the impression that it was going to be streamed on CBS All Access, but it wasn't. So I was confused. So I
thought it said so on their website as well.
Yeah, it said it was well, I ended up watching it at StarTrek.com/day. I think it was.
That's where I'd watched.
And that's the only place I could find it. So I had to get out the daughter's Chromebook and just hook an HDMI cord, hook it into the surround sound that went to the TV and everything. But it worked. It was a little, I felt like Scotty for a minute, putting things together last minute. Because I'm just used to like Roku and Chromecast, and you can just watch anything. But maybe next year. But
they'll improve.
And I think at first it was only available in the U.S., but then at the last minute they opened the panels up to the world or something.
Yeah, the panels at least were wide open up here, so I refreshed the page and I could see them. So
okay, but it didn't play the episodes.
Yeah, I didn't see the episodes to play.
Okay,
so.
Yeah, they did a 24-hour marathon, so they played a lot of good episodes. Yeah, but so I had the episodes back on in the background until the panels came on, and then it was like. Intently watch it. Did you watch it once, twice, three times?
I watched them all once.
Okay.
So
I
rewatched a few of them.
I watched them twice, and then I listened to it once because sometimes you catch more when you listen and don't watch. So
probably.
I really enjoyed it. If you had to tell somebody about the Star Trek Day panels, what would be the one thing you would have to tell them right away? Like your biggest takeaway from Star Trek Day panels?
I would almost say Discovery. It's only one. Well, I guess Lower Decks a bit, but Discovery actually felt like they shared what's coming.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really nice to get that future glimpse. The others were just actually a lot of them were just fun to watch. See the actors. DS9 was a little bit sad, almost, but
yeah, but how could it not
happy,
be, right?
Yeah.
That's how the panel started. I think it started with Discovery. And after Alex Kurtzman talked for a little bit, which I love his kitchen, by the way. I want his house. I don't know. And something I noticed about rich people, they have very little things. They don't have things. It's
they just have big houses, so they spread it out.
Oh, maybe that's it. Maybe I just have a small house. It's 3-bedroom, 2-bath, but everything.
He probably has 3 kitchens or something.
Maybe. So that's his background kitchen. That's his Zoom kitchen. But it was nice.
Would be nice.
But then Mika introduced Shaniqua Martin Green.
Yeah.
And so she introduced the Discovery trailer. And I was looking forward to Discovery being on because, new Star Trek is always great. But I wasn't excited. But I was looking forward, but I wasn't excited. And after I saw this trailer, I was excited. This trailer was like, wow, I can't wait till Star Trek Discovery starts. And that's something new for me.
Yeah, I actually hadn't seen the trailer previously. I think that was the first time I knew of it being airing. But I actually saw a review the day before talking about the trailer.
Okay. So I hadn't seen it before.
Some people had seen it earlier. So I knew a couple of the
media?
Possibly.
I don't know.
But yeah, I saw they commented on a few of the aspects of the trailer in an article I read. So it was neat to see the trailer itself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to the new season. It looks like it's going to be something new.
Yeah, something new, something different. It's in the future, almost 1,000 years.
3188.
3188. And where did we leave off in, what was it, Voyager or I guess Picard now? What did we leave off in Picard?
They're at about 20. 23, 24. Was it? Yeah, 2390.
2390. So it's almost 1,000 years, right?
Yeah, 800, I guess.
Okay, so we'll say 800. And I like what they did because, I mean, it's really hard to go 800 years in the future of the future and figure out what the future is going to be like because it's so hard to predict the future because it changes so fast now.
Yeah.
That it might not even be recognizable or comprehensible. Can you help me with that word?
Comprehensible?
Darn it.
Now I heard you say it wrong.
I'm going to have to get Christopher in here because he's good at words. Comprehensible.
Sounds like a good word.
Comprehensible?
I think you got it.
It wouldn't be comprehensible to our brains. So I think when like everything is like disintegrating and nothing's working anymore and everything's old and broken, I think that's a good way to go because we can understand that.
Well, and that's the go-to when you go far enough in the future. Just history itself repeats itself. So
that's true.
We have Middle Ages, we have Depressions, we have Renaissances. Mm-hmm. So in theory, next gen era may have been the Renaissance or a good era.
Yeah.
And Picard's showing that the galaxy's falling apart a bit. I feel like they're going to have a revival at some point. But well, if even the next Voyager canon sticks true of the future, because it's 2700 or something, I believe the time cops are coming from temporal.
Yes, the temporal police.
So they have everything's in order at that point.
Yeah.
And then there's a fall, I guess, another fall. And so that's what we're seeing. So they referred to it as the burn.
The burn. What do you think the burn is? They said in the panel that it wasn't. Oh, wait, who was in this panel? Let's talk about it. Series stars Sonequa Martin Green and David. Oh, I'm going to butcher this.
Ajala, I think.
And co-showrunners, executive producers Alex Kurtzman and Michelle Paradise. I can pronounce Paradise.
Yeah.
Yay.
So, I was going to say, so it's the day the galaxy took a hard left. Mm-hmm. That's what we learned.
So what does that mean?
We'll find out.
They said it wasn't the Federation imploding in on itself. It was something that happened.
Yeah.
And the Federation still exists, just in a different form.
Yeah, and you get right from them talking in there. We're gonna find out. We're gonna learn throughout the series, whether it's this season or over the couple seasons. Mm-hmm. I have a funny feeling, but they were very obscure in what they said, which I don't blame them.
Yeah, you don't want to ruin for us because we want to be surprised.
But there's gonna be
some kind of natural disaster. Like I was thinking, it's too soon for the Andromeda Galaxy and the Milky Way Galaxy to start.
That's true. But the sad thing is trying to make guesses. There's so many things that we could think of, and probably none of it will be true. Mm-hmm. One thing they did say, though, is you'll see a lot of the alien races we know, but they will not be the same races we knew.
I noticed a Kelpian, a human hybrid, maybe?
Maybe,
yeah. More human, unless they're evolving, or maybe that was the other race that was feeding on the Kelpians.
Oh, I don't think of that. I actually just thought it was a hybrid of some form.
Hybrid?
Or the fact that now that they've embraced their aging and their growth, maybe it's a next almost like a next evolution of their species.
Oh, could be. Yeah.
Looks
like Saru's captain.
Oh, yeah. So. Actually, I noticed that's always been one neat one with Michael
Burnham.
She's not maybe ensign. She's low or lieutenant. She's low rank.
No idea.
She's even
she
enlisted
might have some
almost.
Beckett Mariner going on. She was knocked down because she was a prisoner when the show started.
But yet she's a bridge officer, and she almost like she talks like she's the second officer or the captain half the time.
Well, now it's just them, so they can make up their own rank, right, and their own structure.
That's true.
Pretty much.
They do within there. They show her putting on a new comm badge and donning her uniform again. So is that I'm wondering if they were going to show her them ranking her in some way. But the comm badge, you only get about a quarter-second glimpse of it, but it looks new. It looks
Bajoran.
Yeah, it looked like the Bajoran one. I was just going to say.
Yeah, I saw that, which makes me wonder if maybe Bajor might be the leading culture in the Federation now.
So we got some neat things to look forward to. The ship's crashed. So they even said in the panel that's the first step they're doing is looking to get it up.
Obviously they fix it because in that short trek where the ship's been there for 1,000 years waiting for them, it's intact, right?
Yeah. Well, there wouldn't be. Well, you can't really call it Star Trek Discovery if they don't have Discovery.
Right. So the Discovery's fixed in that episode. That short trek takes place after this, correct?
I would assume so.
Because,
I don't think they ever put a date in that one. So
okay. Yeah, I know, but we're supposed to think something. What do you think of Book? He seemed like an interesting character. I like the actor on the panel. He seemed really cool.
So he was actually in Supergirl 2 seasons ago, I think, for about half a season.
So he hung out by your work.
Possibly, yeah.
You had lunch
I never
with
saw
him. You had lunch with him and didn't know who he was.
Yeah, he was. I loved him in that show. His character, he was that good neutral evil kind of thing. He's a good guy, he's a bad guy, you're not even sure. But he just played the character and the role so well, and they're making him look like he's going to be playing a similar character here. So
now you're going to want to make me go watch Supergirl.
It's
got Ally McBeal in it, doesn't it?
First season.
Callista Flockhart. Oh, she's not in it anymore?
No, I think when CBS dropped it and the CW picked it up or whatever,
no Callista Flockhart. Okay, that was the reason I was going to watch it, because I'm a big Ally McBeal fan. So,
but no, so we see also a Vulcan in there.
Was there?
I think Saru's talking to her.
Oh, I might have missed that part. Oh, okay, yeah, and of course we have the transgender character, which I don't know their names, and
the non-binary
character.
I forget their names as well. I should have had those in front of me.
Well, we haven't even seen the episodes yet. We just saw a trailer, but that's going to be in the 3rd and 4th season or episodes they're introduced. So that I look forward to that. Looks like they might be a couple or friends. I'm not sure.
Maybe they hold hands. One of them's a Trill.
Yes. So
the Trill.
Is that the transgender one? Maybe that might be interesting. I don't know.
I actually thought it was a non-binary, but I could be wrong.
It could be.
But my first hope, and they kind of people asked the question, or I think Mika asked the question in there, are we going to see any characters we know? And they just kind of hummed or said, we'll see. So the first question is the Trill, if we're seeing Trill, are we going to see a Dax?
Dax, that would be cool. Because Dax could still technically be alive. I don't know if we know the symbiote lifespan. We know it's a lot longer than a humanoid, but we don't know how much
they're
longer.
In the trailer towards the very end, you see somebody floating in like a pool of like white milky water. And that was also remind me of the Trill.
What if it is Dax?
Yeah. That would be
cool. That would be cool. Oh man, I just got chills. I had no idea about that. I didn't even think about that. Okay. The other thing that I noticed about this trailer, there was so much in this trailer, was the Section 31 thing.
Yeah.
Because a lot of talk has been, how is Emperor Giorgio, going to get back to the future, our present in the show before how is she going to get to the past to be part of Section 31? But then in those couple seconds of her interacting with people, they all seem to be in black leather jackets. So I'm thinking, is this Section 31 show going to take place in that far future?
in the year 31.
Yeah, right? Ooh.
3100s.
Ooh. I don't know.
I just thought of that now.
Because how is she going to get back? Maybe she doesn't. Maybe that show takes place in that future time too. I don't know.
And the actor that was in the bar or whatever that's basically told her you have no rights here. He's been in a few series. I've seen him in various shows over the years. So it makes me wonder if he's actually played a main character. So it makes me wonder if he's joining the show or if he's going to be recurring.
I don't know. I like the when they had the doctor and they were talking about how they're like a dysfunctional crew, but they've accepted it or something.
No.
Yeah, that was cute. So that shows like the dynamic of it. I've always liked the characters and I've liked their interactions. I just haven't been intrigued by the story arcs, maybe is the best way to say it.
Yeah, I didn't quite understand that new doctor when she joined.
I liked her.
I liked her, but she really felt like a female version of McCoy.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways.
Yeah. And I liked that she seemed to be herself, like, and not just like reading dialogue or, hitting her mark, saying her line, but she seemed to say, okay, this is my scene. I'm just going to be me in it, or whatever character she picked in it. And I liked that about her. So
one thing I did find in this whole feel of the trailer, though, was every time we saw, even though the galaxy's falling apart and life looks tougher there, the crew seemed happy. They were friends. They were hugging. They showed them almost every scene had them cheering in some way or making a joke. So it makes you wonder if it's going to be more of an upbeat tone, maybe with our crew.
That could be it. Less drama and suspense for the sake of music cues. I don't know, but just maybe having an adventure. Maybe they're probably going to try to bring the Federation back to
Andromeda style.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah.
Done better or right?
Maybe that's a Andromeda thing. I didn't even put that together. So wow. Yeah, that's a very huge parallel, and they're both from Gene Roddenberry. So
yeah. Now, the one thing that I didn't really follow, and I'm sure they on purpose, is the giant tree scene. It looked like there's this giant tree, and everybody's walking up and showed them like touching the tree.
I missed that
right
part.
Near the end.
I totally missed it, even though I watched it 3 times.
So I'm curious what that's about. But I think the most important thing they introduced in that whole entire panel was the fact that we have a 4th character also introduced, Grudge the cat.
Oh yeah, that big, huge cat.
Yeah, that's a Maine Coon. I think they said 19 pounds or something.
Yeah, and 40 inches. Yeah. What is that in metric? 3.1 stone meter.
It's about 40. It's about 40 inches.
40 inches. Yeah, that looked pretty cool. It's always cool, and I guess that's Book's cat. It looks like.
Because the publicity photo is the cat on his shoulders.
So if I ever get a cat, that'll be the name of it, I guess. What was the name?
Grudge.
Grudge. Yeah. So that'll be interesting. I wonder if it's not just a cat. What if it's like that witch from Cat's Paw, cat or something, or from Assignment Earth?
That'll be a shapeshifter.
Shapeshifter. Probably just a cat. Fan theories around the cat. So what did you think about the panel altogether? I liked, what was her name? Michelle Paradise. That was the first time I heard of her.
Yeah, I didn't even think I've heard her name, which I don't know. I think from the panel she'd been in the last season 2 at least, or season 3.
There was a lot of shakeups behind the scenes for the first couple seasons. So.
Yeah. I really liked it overall. The panel, they felt comfortable with each other and talking about it. You definitely can tell they're very careful on what they say, because it's, in a lot of ways, I think this is going to be almost a new show with characters we know.
It seems like every season is a different situation. Do you think season 3 is going to carry through to season 7, or do you think at the end of every season they're going to reset everything again?
I'm hoping that this actually continues on. I feel like this will actually be a running story now. They actually made a comment in there that they are changing the story a little bit, I think. So this will be, I think, a little bit more episodic. They'll be still going serial based, but there'll be a little less story heavy in doing that. I guess they're going to have a strong overall story of probably rebuilding the Federation or something.
Do you ever think they'll go back to their own time?
Maybe, but we never hear it. I kind of think it would be hard to do that, because the more they know, the more they know, the worse they contaminate.
Yeah, like 1920 Chicago.
Exactly.
Okay, so that was the Star Trek Discovery panel, and it did its job. It sold Star Trek Discovery Season 3 for me. I was going to watch it, but now I can't wait to watch it. So, and whoever put that trailer together, excellent work. I don't know if they have trailer awards, but that guy deserves one. That woman deserves one.
But the trailer is 1 minute, 2 minute, half minutes long, 90 seconds?
Maybe.
But it felt like I saw enough information to know half of a season, but
without giving us too much.
Exactly.
Just the hooks we needed to be like, okay, now I need to. I don't want Lower Decks to be over, but I can't wait for Discovery to begin.
Yeah, and I'm sure if we probably looked on YouTube, somebody's broken this down frame by frame. Even
I might do that later tonight, before the sun comes up. The next panel was Star Trek Deep Space Nine with series star Terry Farrell, Alexander Siddig, Armin Shimmerman, Nana Visitor, Sirach Lofton, and executive producer Ira Stephen Bear. I love these guys. I'm in the credits of that Deep Space Nine documentary they just put out.
What We Left Behind.
What We Left Behind, yes. And it's good they did it then before we lost the two castmates they were talking about, Aaron Eisenberg and
Renee
Aubergenois. That's always hard for me to say. So, what do you think about the Deep Space Nine panel?
I really enjoyed it overall. It was neat to hear them talk, especially the first half. I'd say they really you can tell most of them or all of them are friends, friendly with each other. Shows that 7 years working together, you actually build those good friendships. I actually was surprised. Not surprised, but you didn't have the captain on there.
He doesn't do a lot of Star Trek stuff for some reason.
Just,
I think the last thing I saw him in was The Captains with William Shatner. When he was playing the piano and he seemed all kooky and wacky.
Yeah, but they did make reference to him and talking about the filming of the one episode.
Far Beyond the Stars.
That sounds right.
That sounds right. Yeah, that was a great episode. I liked Sarah Lofton talking about that episode. That's one of my favorites. I think I've seen that episode done in Deep Space Nine and maybe Buffy the Vampire Slayer, where the main character wakes up and they're in a different reality that's supposed to be the real reality that's makes more sense than the reality we're used to. And I think
we even have a Voyager episode of that.
Oh, which one is it? Remind me.
Yeah. Probably somewhere in season 3, 4, or 5.
11:59.
Harry wakes up back in San Francisco.
That's right, and his girlfriend and everything. Yep. Okay. Yeah, that's good. But he's still the same person.
Yep.
But
he remembers
very similar. But he remembers it all. Now, is that the original Harry or the replacement Harry?
They replaced Harry.
Yeah, Harry died. Oh, spoiler alert! All Star Trek. Okay. I liked it because you're right. They all have this family feel. Like you can tell they're all friends. I imagine every single one of these panels like have a group text going in my mind anyway. I really like that Alexander Siddig and Nana Visitor are still friendly, even though they used to be married, but they're not anymore. But they look like they still remain really good friends. I know they have kids together, but everybody seems to be good. Another thing about this panel is Terry Farrell's in it. Yeah. And one of the things she said was she loved Spock growing up, and now she's married to Leonard Nimoy's son, Adam Nimoy. So I was like, how cool is that to like... Which
she met while he was doing the Spock documentary, I believe.
Yeah. I like that documentary too. But I think it was nice to see them together talking about Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and the validation of all their hard work was finally discovered by the fans.
Yeah, and actually, this was actually a lot more I found from that documentary. Actually, what we left behind, and I think it goes into deeper of that. But it's like them saying, like younger fans, especially in the documentary, the young girls coming up to them and saying, "I want to learn science because I saw Jadzia." And just the fans when they know they made it when you have fans younger than the show come out and talk to them about the show.
I like the fact about Deep Space Nine where the Nana Visitor and Terry Farrell, their characters were very strong women. It wasn't about what they looked like. It was about who they were. And they were beautiful also, but it wasn't about that. It was about their characters.
Oh, yeah. They did show them in scenes like both in like lingerie type things, I think, throughout the series, but overall you saw them in their uniforms.
And Mirror Universe, of course. Mirror Universe, Kira.
Kira.
There's more there for something. Okay. So, overall I liked it, and it was nice to see everybody back together again, and it was nice to see them talking.
And then they ended it, a good portion of the end with them talking about their fallen comrades.
Rene Auberjonois. They said he was prickly. That was the word. So I guess he was a jerk on set, but in a nice way. I've worked with people like that.
Sound like, I kind of got the impression, I don't know much about him, but they made it sound like more that he was very much, he got into character. He was, when he was on set, he was the character.
Because Odo was prickly, kind of.
But he was also, I think, a trained actor.
Yeah.
So he probably was very much like, this is how we do it properly. And so
I have to say, watching all of Deep Space Nine, I never saw Rene Auberjonois. I always saw Odo.
Fair enough.
Even though I knew him from before, from like Benson and other things. And what, Star Trek 6 was it? I think he was in also.
Oh, I didn't. Place that.
But he was always. I never doubted his work for a second. So, and I think
what was neat was Alexander Siddig saying that him and the two of them had never really done many scenes together.
And I had never thought about that.
Me neither. And then I was actually thinking it through, and I guess I remember a few times, like when he became a human for a while. I think he was in sickbay in one or two of the episodes, or got scanned. But other than that, they didn't really do much together, unless they were on the whole crew on the bridge together.
A Man Alone, they interacted a little bit because there was a clone of Odo. and Bashir had to figure that out, right?
Okay.
And yeah, not much. But I never thought about that.
It's funny. I think you got 10 or 8 main characters. You think they'd all see each other on a daily basis or always be together.
But they kind of did pair up if you think about it. Like O'Brien was always with Bashir, or Bashir was always with Garrick, and Quark and Odo were always working together. So, interesting. But it was nice to see more stuff.
Yeah, it was nice to see them memorialize their friends.
It was just a nice, sweet panel, I think. It was nice to see everybody. So on Star Trek Day, you should have Deep Space Nine there. Anything more to say about Deep Space Nine panel?
I think it was good. Okay. I was hoping they would announce that they're doing a movie or something.
Yeah, I want movies. I want a made-for-TV movie. Definitely Enterprise.
Now that we lost actors, I have a hard feeling that we'll ever see.
Yeah. Can you do Deep Space Nine without Odo? I don't know.
Hard.
Yeah, it'd be difficult. You'd have to maybe some of the characters in a different thing in the same world, but not Deep Space Nine.
They could CG them in. I could see them all introducing or doing cameos in everybody in other series if possible. But
I can't wait for that. The next panel was Star Trek: Strange New Worlds.
All right. And so here we saw, was it Anson Mount, Rebecca Romaine?
Yep.
I'm going to get it right. Ethan Peck, Akiva
Goldsman.
Henry Alfonso Myers, Kayla Cooper, and Davy Perez.
Yes. Right. So those are all the people responsible for the show: showrunners, writers, producers, and also the 3 main actors.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the Pike series.
I'm excited. I really liked what they did with them in the series of Discovery. I think we kind of covered this a couple weeks ago there, but I really liked them. Really liked Anson Mount. I really felt he had that superior feeling of a captain, of a true captain.
He feels like Pike.
Yeah. And I feel like the other 2 will do really well. I actually really like her. I don't really know her for much, but I really liked her.
Wasn't she like a supermodel or something? I only know her really as Jerry O'Connell's wife.
Which is a whole other funny aspect.
Which they kept talking about. So
I don't know. I really liked this one because it felt like I liked and didn't like this. I was really hoping for some tidbits about the series, but they really didn't tell you much more than that they're going to do episodic with a small overall extending storyline.
Really, they haven't filmed anything yet. They're just coming up with ideas, and with the pandemic, who knows when they're going to start filming? Because they can't even really, I guess they have the bridge set, but they can't really start production until they can work together, I guess.
Yeah. I did like that comment. They actually said he was able to help, I guess, push the series or help get the series made because we spent how many tens of thousands of dollars to build the set.
Yep, that's why they did some short treks and everything in it, and I think it was Akiva Goldsman that said he thought that Discovery was going to be a Pike series when it started. So
yeah,
it was his influence to get Pike even in Discovery. And he fought for a Pike series from the beginning. So, and I like the joke about the longest pilot to series time span. That was funny. I'm looking forward to it, but it's realistically maybe the end of 2021, beginning of 2022 before we see any of this.
And this one's got a cap of 5-year series, I think, because it's his 5-year mission.
Mm-hmm. But 5 years in their world can be 7 in ours. There's no reason.
If we wanted,
yeah, there's no reason why.
Well, we also don't know what happened to number 1, so she could have her spin-off off the end.
Yeah, and they mentioned that the writers told her backstory, and it's fascinating. I don't know what that could be. Any ideas? Any thoughts?
Hopefully she's a Section 31 officer.
Mm-hmm.
She comes from something.
It's interesting. I
as long as I was gonna say, as long as they don't try to do what they've already done with Discovery, like one of the things that bothered me is she became Spock's half or adopted sister kind of thing because they just tied it in just to tie it in. I think so. If we find out she's Kirk's long lost twin sister or something, I would...
yeah, maybe, I don't know. But if they didn't do that, then we wouldn't have the Strange New Worlds.
Sure enough.
So, and again, I know I mentioned my daughter a lot, but she's just now starting to get into Star Trek, so I'm very proud father. But she really likes The Cage. She's watched it, I think, more than anything else. So when she found out, when she was watching this panel, that this series is a series like based on the episode The Cage, she was very excited.
Good.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that one.
But I thought it was neat. They could talk for 20 minutes and not really tell us anything.
Yeah. So, but it was still fun to watch them, and I liked. This was the one where the creators got emotional, right? The writers and creators about about the gravity of having like almost original Star Trek in their hands again.
Yeah, I think it was especially Keela Cooper. She seemed to really. I think this just being able to be a writer on Star Trek from. I think it was very emotional, and for her to be able to say that she was able to do this,
because there has been African American representation in as far as actors go, but behind the scenes not so much.
Yeah, and I don't know the writers enough, especially in the previous series, to know how many. But like she grew up saying, she said she grew up watching Star Trek, so her was a hero in a way. So it's neat to see. Yeah, it's full circle.
I can't wait to see what they do. I'm on board. I'm going to be there the minute it drops, 3 a.m. Why do they make us stay up to 3 a.m. to watch these things? It's crazy.
At least they don't make you wait till 8 p.m. tomorrow.
Yeah, the next day. I guess we're getting it early, but I'm not going to go to sleep that night if there's Star Trek coming out. So 3 a.m. in 2022, I'll be there. Okay, so that was a good panel. I enjoyed it. Star Trek, the original series, was the next panel with George Takei.
Yeah, and Roddenberry and Will Wheaton sat there and listened to George talk.
Yeah, well, that was great. I mean, I like Roddenberry. Had a chance to meet him a few times. He seemed like a really cool guy. He's one of the, when you go to the Star Trek conventions, he's always at his table, and he's always just happy to meet everybody. And he spends so much time with everybody. And I got pictures with him, with me and the daughter and everything. And he seems really cool. He has his own Roddenberry podcast network where, I don't know if you listen to any of those shows like Mission Log, Women at Warp, but they do a lot of good, he runs a lot of good podcasts. Tonight, actually, he was in, have you heard of Censar?
Just because you linked it to me.
Oh, did you watch it? Yeah.
Not yet.
It's really good. He had Will Wheaton, his friend, guest star in basically it's like Ready Player One. It's a virtual reality world, and everybody's an avatar walking around in virtual reality. And they were playing the dating game, and Will Wheaton was the one trying to figure out if he was going to date Bachelor number 1, Bachelor number 2, or Bachelorette number 3. So it was really entertaining. So that's what they were doing tonight. So that's why I was a little bit late for the recording. Sorry about that.
It's all good.
But if you get a chance to watch that, it was really good. Will Wheaton playing the dating game.
Nice.
Yeah. I like them talking to George. I really wish there was more original series people there. Walter Koenig's still alive and aware.
William Shatner.
But him and George are not getting along right now.
Yeah, so and I think I heard, I read somewhere prior to Star Trek Day that there was a lack of him and somebody else on the panels, and it was guessed because of current conditions.
So it's a shame that still, I guess, 54 years later, they're still not getting along. So
stuff happens.
Who knows what it is? Because we really don't know these people's personal lives. We just know their personas. Pretty much, and I don't want to think ill of any of my heroes, so I don't want to pick a side. It's like mommy and daddy fighting.
Now, George Takei, I thought he had a pretty good story. I've heard most of his story before, but it's neat to hear it all in one place.
I didn't hear this one before. Did you, about the Errol Flynn thing? That was new to me.
No, I've heard him talk about the internment camp stuff in the past,
which he should talk about every chance he gets, because it's unbelievable.
I didn't realize. I knew he was I know he's a gay actor and whatnot, but I didn't realize he stayed closeted for so long. He mentioned how long he did.
Yeah.
But I get it.
Yeah, hearing him talk about how his family was ushered out of their house at gunpoint for just looking the way they look, I understand him not coming out, because during that time the same thing could have happened to him. I mean, even today in some parts of the world, you could be killed for being who you are. So it was good to hear him talk about it, and it was really good to hear just see Will Wheaton. I love him, number one, and I just like I like how he's genuine and kind, and he really loves to hear the stories that George was telling.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Mm-hmm. But I wanted more people.
Yeah, it's too bad because like also Uhura, Michelle.
Yeah, well, I don't think she's she's healthy enough to be in the panel, which is sad.
It'd be nice to see, like you said, a few of them, even if they're pre-recorded things. Well, I think the whole thing was pre-recorded.
Maybe
but they
go to
could
their
have
home and do a little something, but then it wouldn't really be a panel because they wouldn't be interacting. I don't know. What do you do? And then,
I'd still take it.
Yeah, so maybe next year Walter can be on the panel. Are any of the writers still around? I don't know. DC's gone.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say she was still around not too long ago.
Yeah, but she passed away. So
year,
I guess it's going to happen. Maybe they'll have New Voyages panel. That would be good. The next one was Star Trek Voyager. I really love this one.
This was one of the ones I thought, same thing. I thought this was a neat one. I actually had the least interest almost in watching this one.
Really?
And that's probably one of the ones I enjoyed more.
Okay, so who did we have in the Star Trek Voyager panel? Kate Mulgrew, of course, Robert Picardo, Robert Duncan McNeil, Garrett Wang, Tim Russ, and Ethan Phillips. So we were missing...
we had a surprise guest.
Oh, yeah, LeVar Burton popped his head in. That was really cool to see. Yeah, he directed a lot of those episodes.
I think I read he directed 8 episodes or something.
And he was in one of them, I think.
Possibly.
Was it the one where they're in the future and it's everybody's dead and frozen and Harry Kim is trying to save them all or something? What was that called?
I need to rewatch Voyager again, apparently.
Well, I have been lately. For some reason, I'm just, at night, I'm like, I go through all the series and I'm like, yeah, Voyager sounds good. Voyager sounds good.
Nice.
And then like 9 of them play before I even think about it. We were missing one of the Roberts. Chakotay. Yeah.
I actually
anybody? Oh,
he recently said in an interview, I think, that he probably would never do Star Trek again, reprise the role.
Robert Beltran?
Yeah. I think
we were missing Kess. So no Kess.
And Jerry Ryan.
Yeah, Jerry Ryan. So
which I'm surprised with her being on Picard. I thought she'd be on one of the two.
One of the two,
panels.
Right? I was expecting, when she wasn't on Voyager, I was like, okay, she'll be on Picard. But then she wasn't. So,
now, I've heard, whether it's true or not, I've heard her and Kate don't get along.
I know for a long time they didn't, and Kate Mulgrew took responsibility for that and said she was in the wrong because Jerry Ryan came on as, the pretty new lady to get ratings, and Kate felt like she was being replaced almost. So there was like some jealousy there, but I think they get along now. Did you see the panel where Garrett Wang was crying and talking about the conflict between the two?
No, I actually never did.
Yeah, so if you get a chance to look that up, he just broke down one time, and because nobody had heard of this before that, and he had just said everything. And so that was like a catalyst, from my understanding, for them to all get back together and heal the wounds. So
nice.
I think they're all friends now.
Yeah, it was neat. You listen to them. Actually, I felt like Garrett was the outsider almost in this one. He's still definitely friends with them because they're talking, but everybody else was definitely, I text with them daily, or I see them every time I'm in town, and where Garrett was kind of left out of it a lot in a lot of the conversation. But
Garrett and Robert Duncan McNeil are still friends. They do that podcast together. Yeah. What is it called? I
don't know. The first I heard of it was,
I think, maybe.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah. So I listened to a few of that, but it's mostly behind a Patreon paywall, I think. So you get like a short version of the podcast, and then you got to pay to get the old one, the whole one, which I might do. I don't know.
That's what you do once we have 10,000 fans or more.
Yeah, I'll do that. But
it's neat to see how they've all aged. 25 years. Some of them look similar. Some of them look aged.
Yeah. My daughter watched it with me again, and she was like, they don't look like them. I'm like, it's been 25 years. We all have this disease where we age and they don't know how to cure it yet. So, but on the third time around, when I just listened to it, I pictured them as they were 25 years ago. They still sound the same and they seem the same. It's a shame that we all do age, but I guess it does happen. But I would still take 25 years older Voyager crew if they got a movie, if they did a Picard kind of thing where, what could they do? Something about Janeway messing up the timeline for the final episode and they have to fix it or something.
I would not be surprised in Picard, especially with the 709 in there, to see a cross, or some of them step in. I don't know if I know Tim Russ has done a lot in the fan movies and shows.
Yeah, they did a few, right? He wrote, produced something, directed one. Renegades, was it?
I think it's Renegade. Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know, once you start getting into that fan side, if Paramount and CBS would really be open to you coming back or not.
Yeah. I think it was one of those things where, okay, you guys are done. Whatever happened before, it happened, but now you're done. You can't make more Star Trek. That's not us. Yeah. So, and of course, my daughter was excited to see him because he's the principal on iCarly, Tim Russ. So, so when we meet him and get a photo op with him, that'll be like a dual purpose one.
Nice.
I really did like it, and I just, like I said, I've been really loving Voyager lately again for, I don't know why. I never disliked it, but I guess I go through cycles. And
it wasn't the one that you had the other one, so this was not as good as, in my mind at the time, at least. It wasn't Next Gen or it wasn't DS9, so it was just the other show that I'm going to watch because it's got Star Trek in this title.
But I watched it. I loved it when it was on, and I think I did another rewatch that I was really into it, but then I go through different phases. But now I'm in a Voyager phase. Voyager and Enterprise phase. It's one or the other right now for me. So speaking of the next panel.
Okay, I was just going to say, the one thing about this one here was the fact that you can tell they've all stayed friends, and they talk about the fact it's been 25 years, and it doesn't feel like 25 years, which it doesn't.
The Enterprise crew, we had, of course, Scott Bakula, which I consider a close personal friend. He doesn't know me. And Linda Park. Still beautiful as always and awesome. John Billingsley, pretty cool. Dominic Keating, Anthony Montgomery, and Connor Trenier. So we're just missing Jolene Blaylock, I think.
I think so.
That was it, right?
Oh, and the pup.
Porthos. I have a plush Porthos. So, but I really enjoyed it. I liked their interaction. That's one thing about all these panels. They really all seem to still be families.
Yeah.
After all this time, which makes my heart happy.
Probably because most of them actors all do conventions still. So I'm guessing they still get to see each other, and which helps.
Yeah, you always see Connor Trenier and Dominic Keating doing the thing. I wonder if that's where they got that in Lower Decks. I don't know. But I really like seeing them, and that's another Enterprise needs. I think every Enterprise fan wants them to have a proper ending. So if any series was going to get a CBS All Access movie, it would be Enterprise. That would be my vote.
The fact they're able to get all of them means there's always a chance, right?
Yeah. Scott would redo it, I think. I think any of them would redo it. And I don't know about Jolene. I wonder about what happened there. Maybe just scheduling?
Could be.
But it's COVID. So what are people doing?
Never know.
You never know.
Maybe she did. Maybe she did fit in as well.
Vacation in France or something.
Now, to me, this one it was good, but it felt like it was very much a love fest about Scott. How great, which, not going to argue it, but it was definitely a good portion of it was them talking about him.
My first big success in podcasting was the Quantum Leap podcast. And I've had the luxury of interviewing writers, producers, creators of Quantum Leap. And every single interview, from the creators, the writers, the producers, the actors, the guest stars, the production people, the stunt people, the first 5 minutes of every interview is how awesome Scott is.
That's awesome.
So one of my first questions when I interviewed Scott, because that was my 40th birthday present from the universe to me, was I got to interview Scott Bakula. And
nice.
Being a Star Trek fan, a fan of Star Trek Enterprise, and of course a huge fan of Quantum Leap, when he called me, I had his action figure on my desk in front of me while I was on the phone with him with all my recording equipment set up. But one of the questions I asked him was about how everybody just gushes about how of an amazing, kind, genuine, giving, hardworking person that he is. And I asked him if he did that. If he did that because he's that way, or if he did it because he thought that was the way an actor was supposed to be, or if it was true, basically. And he said the reason he is kind to everyone and cares about everyone and wants everybody to feel like they matter is because they do matter, and that if everybody feels important as they are and not disregarded, that they do a better job, so it's better for the whole show.
That makes sense.
So I think it's true. I think if there's one good guy out there, it's him.
Good to know.
He seems like that's one of those, what would Scott Bakula do? You get a bracelet or something. But they did talk a lot about how good he is. But, how can you not? It was good to see Linda Park. She did look like she didn't age hardly at all.
No, and I actually liked they did talk about some of the episodes of the mirror episode.
Yeah, and Mirror Darkly. Yeah,
yeah.
A couple
poor Connor saying he did a pirate accent or something in the one take, and the guy's like, cut, print.
He's like, no, and he had to do it the rest of the time. That's the first time I heard that story.
Yeah, and he's like, I had to do that for 3 weeks. I'm like, oh, poor guy.
So now I want to watch those again and just watch him. Yeah. That'd be fun.
And then they're talking about Linda because her and Will Wheaton kind of talked on there about that
being
because
the
they're both the kids. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't realize she was that young. I knew she looked young, but I figured she was just young looking.
Oh yeah, you could be. Yeah. So yeah, it was neat to see her. Actually, I don't know those actors as well, so it was neat to actually see them talk.
Okay, I'm pretty obsessed with Enterprise. I don't probably because I like Scott Bakula.
Fair enough.
But that's one of my favorite Star Treks. They're all my favorites. So it's hard to rank them at all. But I was happy to see Scott was there because when the captain of a series isn't there, it's like why? What else?
That's
what
I said about DS9, right?
On Star Trek Day, yeah, Avery Brooks, yeah. But I don't know. Who knows? But when you see them there, it makes you feel happy, I think.
Fair enough.
So that's my request: Star Trek Enterprise movie or one more season.
I'll buy a ticket.
Yep. Take my $13.99 right now. You just did, I think. I got an alert on my phone. Okay. The next panel was Lower Decks.
Lower Decks.
So who was on that one?
So we had Tawny Newsome, Jack Quaid, Noel Wells, Eugene Cordero,
and series creator Mike McMahon. I like Mike McMahon. He seems like a cool dude.
He does. I've seen him in the Comic-Con and now this one.
Yeah.
And so
he seems like one of us. I like that like they have on CBS All Access, they have little short videos of behind the scenes of Lower Decks, and he says different Easter eggs that were in there and different things. That's where I found out about Deep Space Nine being in the episode that I missed on the last one we talked about.
I will say just overall, he actually seems almost like a giddy kid, the fact that he gets to make a Star Trek.
Yeah.
I think all of us would probably feel.
I think he's one of us is what I'm trying to say. So, and I really like what he's doing with the series. It was, for me, this was one of my favorite panels as well, just because to see the chemistry between the voice actors. They all seem to be real, because we're in the other panels, we've seen the actors reminiscing about the good old days, but this series, they're actually in the good old days right now.
And they're really filming it, as far as I understand, like a Zoom meetings almost.
Yeah.
Partly.
What were they saying? They go in the closet, and Jack Quaid was like, that closet, that's where I record.
Yeah.
So
it was funny because they all ousted him and kind of throw out the thing. They ignore him.
They were treating him like Boimler. They were intentionally excluding him. That was funny.
It was I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed the whole feel of this. They were friends. They were new friends, I guess, but they're young. They're kids in a way.
It's like they all love each other already. Yeah. And I think they know they're in for, 7 years and then 45 years of doing panels about the 7 years. And it's animation. So, South Park, Simpsons, Family Guy, they go 20 years.
And they could even
why can't Lower Decks
and bring it back?
Yeah, why can't Lower Decks go 20 years? Why not?
That's true.
If any of the series, they got the best shot.
The neat thing that they talking about it, they are, I guess, really enjoying the show. And they said we're gonna hit the back 5 now, starting I guess tomorrow. Yeah. And they all said when they talk about the favorite episodes, they were pretty much all talking about episode 8, episode 6, so.
The big news. We haven't talked about the big news. The big spoiler we found out in this panel. I'll let you talk about it.
It was a spoiler.
Yeah, Q, John Delancey.
Yeah. So we have Q coming up in episode, I think 8 actually. So
8. So not 6 or 7. So 3 weeks from now. 2 weeks
from now.
Episode
8 they mentioned.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope they don't skip a week. So we have Q. They said, but they made it sound like you almost a blink and you miss it. So
I heard that. Now I don't know if that was an intentional mislead, Because if they get John Delancey and the internet's buzzing like that, besides the Discovery trailer, which seemed to be on every feed and every social media network everywhere, like instantly, Discovery trailer. The next thing I saw was Q everywhere, animated Q.
Yeah, and they threw him in that trailer for the back half, so or the snippet. So if he's a blink and you miss it, and he's already in the trailer, that's kind of seems like a very wasted.
I would be disappointed.
Yeah. So
if it's like one joke and it's all based on Q, and it was spoiled here, then I would be sad too. So hopefully he has something to do with the episode.
So they did say something in, I guess it was a Strange New Worlds one with Rebecca, because her and Jerry are married. He wasn't on this one. So
we're missing him. Who else were we missing?
Yeah.
Well,
the captain.
The captain.
So they went with they actually went with the lower decks crew on this.
Yeah,
one.
the lower decks. Yeah, because So,
but they mentioned, she kind of joked, but they mentioned the joke of doing a crossover at some point in time. And it made me actually think when watching these actors, I'm going, all these actors could play their characters.
100%. And I think they mentioned that Jack Quaid had a Boimler's body or vice versa.
And he goes, except for the purple hair or something.
Yeah, the 3 purple hairs right there.
So it would be neat because I know you've never seen the cartoon do a live action, but you've seen the live actions do a cartoon episode.
Right, the original series. Right.
I guess original series did cartoons. I'm just also thinking Farscape. They did an episode where half the episode they were cartoons.
That was great, like Looney Tunes style.
Yeah. So
that was great.
We there's precedent to go cartoon, but what about doing cartoon to real? So you got
mentioned Roger Rabbit, so that's his idea. And my only thought about that was it was awesome to hear them mention it and him trying to pitch it. But now that he put it out there,
we're expecting it.
Yeah, but maybe it's less likely to happen.
Yeah. So.
I don't know. But I'm totally for it. So if there's a transporter, say there's a transporter malfunction and like an animated character transports and the actual actor is on, I guess it would be Strange New Worlds, and then the Strange New Worlds character would be animated, or how would they do that?
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't. I'd be really curious, but that'd be a season 3 or 4 or 5 kind of story arc.
Road. But because Strange New Worlds would have to be in production at least a season.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to like episode 9 of Strange New Worlds. Yay, we're having a cartoon.
We also have a 100-year time difference or 70-year time difference between the shows. So.
Okay. So maybe it's that whole, how the theory our universe is just a hologram or reflection of a real universe or something.
I just figure we're all in the holodeck.
Well, yeah, the simulation theory. I believe that more than anything. But maybe there's another one reflection of the universe that's animated or something. Temporal anomaly. I'm sure they can write one line and we'll buy it.
Of course.
Yeah. I'm not gonna.
Somebody got pulled into a computer screen and they're animated in the computer screen.
Who would you like to see crossover? Would you like to see like both crews have to work together and like almost like yesterday's Enterprise, where like
that'd be neat.
Yeah.
I guess it would have to be the main two, Tawny and Jack, have to be the ones you see.
Yeah. They could all really play themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, Tindy paint her green, right?
Yeah. I was actually surprised. She looked, I don't know much about Noelle Wells, but she looked young. I was like, wow, actually she's not. She's 33, but really? I thought as soon as I saw her, I was like, wow, she looks young.
She looked too young for me to have a crush on, but now that I know she's 33, crush initiated. She seemed pretty cool. I like everybody from them, so I would like to see the whole crews interact, I guess.
Yeah, so I enjoyed that panel a lot. That was actually probably the funner ones.
Probably, well, because of their camaraderie and their fun they're having, and also that's the current Star Trek on right now, and we're seeing the panel, and I just love that one. So that was great. The next one was actually 2 combined. Star Trek Picard and Star Trek The Next Generation. So we had Will Wheaton, Jonathan Frakes, and
Sir Patrick Stewart.
Thoughts on this one?
It was good. I actually wish they would have done with 2 panels.
Mm-hmm.
I think both
with
shows
Jerry
deserve
Ryan
their own
in there
panel.
Somewhere. And
I like what they did. This was very much about Picard. Mm-hmm. Basically a lot about Patrick Stewart, actually, if anything.
Mm-hmm. Almost like they skipped Next Gen.
Yeah.
and they're still all around, and they still do all the touring circuits. The cons.
So I was surprised because I would have loved to see the next gen one. I think a lot of the fact we had LeVar Burton jump into one means he was available probably.
Right? Why didn't they have a next gen one? That's not the only thing that was missing from the panels of today, but next gen was really missing. I mean, it's great to have Wesley, Picard, and Riker together.
Yeah, it was neat because I got to hear
5 other people.
Oh yeah,
and you could have threw in John Delancey.
Ooh. Because you know he's around.
Did you ever see them on their reunion tour? I was able to go to. They got together and they toured the world, but I saw them in Orlando, and everyone was together. The main 7, and Will Wheaton and John Delancey and Denise Crosby all together on stage. Nice. And you could get the photo op with all of them, but I think it was like stupid, like 3 months rent kind of price or something.
I'll take my money.
But so I only got pictures with the ones that I hadn't gotten pictures with before that. But it was great to see them all together on stage and everything. So that was something that was really missing, I think.
I thought so too, because Next Gen is really the one that brought, I think, a lot of people to that generation of Star Trek.
Why do you think they were kind of snubbed almost?
I don't know. I really don't. I'm thinking maybe it seemed better on paper. Maybe they had their 3-hour block, so 8 panels is all they're going to fit, and for some reason Next Gen was the one that didn't fit, that they could squeeze it with Picard. I don't know.
Well, I could see them, the reason they're having the, Strange New Worlds, Lower Decks is to promote what's coming out. Discovery, to promote what's coming out. A lot of the Discovery crew wasn't there, too, which I'm sure all those guys would have jumped on.
They only did the 2. I guess they're making Book a main character.
Yeah, and Sonequa was only on there to introduce. Yeah. It's weird. See, I was so excited. Now I feel cheated.
But I felt this panel though was good. Patrick Stewart, always great to hear him talk. I thought watching Picard, he looked a little bit older, but I actually thought that panel you could see his aging now. Yeah,
well, in Picard, Patrick Stewart only looks old from the front. From the back, his stand-in does not look as old. From the front, he's like running slow, and then the back, he's, that's a continuity thing. Maybe that was why LeVar Burton stuck his head in, because he wasn't invited to the panel. I don't know.
Maybe. So I don't know. I was like I said, I was a little sad, but it was great to hear their story.
All that aside, I really liked how much they loved each other, and they tell each other that they love each other.
Yeah, that's true. And then talking about him directing, Jonathan Frakes, I never even put together that he did the Fistful of Data's episode.
Patrick Stewart did that, right?
Yeah,
I didn't know that. Like, I'm sure I heard it, but I never remember.
So that was a new story for me to hear, which was nice.
Yeah, and about the lighting, I didn't know that they shot that at night with artificial lighting. It looked just all daytime to me.
Yeah, it was neat because I would always thought he was the senior officer, so you assume Jonathan would be taking lead from him, but he actually said he took lead from Jonathan Frakes for that. So that's neat and he's the one that pushed him towards directing. Yeah,
so which is great. And Jonathan's a great director. It was great to see Jonathan Frakes in Picard. Yeah. Hopefully we see him again. And it was nice to
I never realized that was the kind of a little hidden thing they've recorded. They didn't let that really be known that he was going to be in that final episode.
That was a surprise to me. It seemed leading up to it that it would be the Borg Cube and 7 of 9 that saved the day at the end, but that last minute it was replaced with Jonathan Frakes almost. And it was interesting to hear the whole story about how he did it and how it was like a green screen and just one little tiny chair and stuff. Because it looked real. I mean, it looked like he was on a redressed bridge of maybe, Strange New Worlds deck Enterprise.
Well, he was filming Discovery in Toronto, they said. So somebody came up and fitted him for a uniform, and they recorded it.
Yeah, I think it worked out good. Yeah. It reminded me of how I think Leonard Nimoy was in the last Star Trek Kelvinverse movie, where they just went to his home and put a green screen behind him. He's be Spock one last time, please. He's like,
well, that was perfect because he passed not that long after.
Yeah.
But what actually really threw me for a loop on this one was the Will Wheaton kind of conversation, because that actually got really emotional. It actually was a good final panel.
I love Will Wheaton's honesty and genuineness and willingness to talk about his struggles in his life. and just be open. And, you know, a lot of us, we have this facade, like everything's great, everything's fine. And then we're crying in the shower or whatever. A normal human thing. But he's like, you know, today I'm having trouble with this. Today I'm having trouble with that. Today's a good day. And I like that he thanked them for being there for him and being his family.
And yeah, I would agree. And he's actually a neat one, because I would have almost said Will Wheaton fell off the face of the earth after Star Trek Next Gen. And didn't really hear anything about him. And I'd say in the last 10 years, he's maybe reinvented himself or built the podcast, built the social media behind himself.
I follow him on everything. And,
and I enjoy him. Like he's a guy that you want to see more of. So.
He's and he got a lot of hate over the years from I think he was one of the original targets of toxic fan community. People for some reason hated Wesley. I think he's about my age, so he was my window into Next Gen, because I was like, "Ooh, if that kid can be on the bridge, I can be on the bridge." So
yeah, I would agree. I liked him because I was a kid when I watched it. So
exactly. Hey, it worked. They got us to watch, didn't they? Yep. They made fans for life. We kind of like it. The one, and any more to say about Picard Next Generation panel? We'll call it. That's what they're calling it, right?
Yep.
The only thing to me was missing, and I don't know if this is a CBS/Paramount thing or just a hate for the Kelvinverse, but there was no 2009 panel. There was no.
That's true.
I mean, nobody. It wasn't even mentioned. I think.
And there's rumors came out just a few weeks ago that the Star Trek 4 movie is actually in talks now.
Again?
Yeah.
More?
Again.
Which one?
Well, another Chris Pine.
But I mean, like, are they doing the time travel one with his dad, or they're not doing the
no idea
R-rated one? They might be doing something totally different.
I literally don't know. I just know I read last week or two ago that something had come out that apparently again.
Is there anything other than the Kelvin timeline that they ignored? I don't think so.
Animated series?
Yeah, which is kind of covered with the original series, I guess.
No, I think they covered it all. The only thing is, like you said, missing people. I felt like they have a lot of people, but they're missing a lot of people that I would have thought you would see.
And I think we're one of the fan communities that if they had 9 hours of panels, we would watch 9 hours of panels.
Yeah, some panels almost felt short. Like they were like, all right, we got to cut this short. And I'm like, the thing just started.
It was edited very well.
Yeah.
To me, it was edited a little too tight. Like all of them were just like you could tell they took a lot of beats out, just to maybe for those people that listen to podcasts at 1.5 speed. Just
okay.
I don't know. It just seemed like boom, 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 and then there'd be 5 minutes. Well, luckily there was that 5 minutes of trivia, so you could go pee or get something to eat before the next panel started. So that was good. But it was weird that they rushed the panels and then had intermissions. So I don't know. But it was their first time doing this. I think they did. Overall, I'd give them an A.
Oh, yeah. I would agree.
What's your rating on the Star Trek Day panels? I didn't even know we were going to do this, but I just thought of that.
If I had to do an overall, I'd probably say about a 6.
Really?
6 out of 10.
Just because of people missing, right?
I think there was like 2 or 3 that were 8, 9s. And I think there were a couple that were around 5s. And so,
how could you do it without Jerry Ryan? I don't know.
I actually feel bad. The Next Gen cast, really. There's a lot of
I would listen to them for 2 hours.
And we know, like, they've shared pictures on social media just last year, birthday or whatever. Everybody was there, but
they're
Jonathan.
all together, all with their masks on. They hang out all the time. Will Wheaton wasn't there. He's always like not at the party. And I always want him to comment on the picture, like, "Hey guys, why didn't you invite me? You know, I'm right here." They all live there, you know. I don't know.
But so they could all have probably gotten most of them. But,
who would say no on Star Trek Day?
And this is all pre-recorded, so it's not like they had to record it yesterday or the day before.
It could be, we'll all get together on the 13th. Okay, we'll all get together on the 15th. Yeah. And it's a Zoom call. Literally, you can do it from anywhere.
Yeah. That's even when we say the TOS there with William Shatner and George. Like, okay, I get that they may not want to do one together, but they could have had something with everybody. Even I would really need to see where they did just a montage, like a 1 minute montage of just going through all the different characters saying like, happy Star Trek Day. Just do as many of the actors as they could have.
In a world where things are happening the way they are, and that public feud that's going on between the difference of opinions and memories between George and William Shatner. I would have loved to see, if I wrote reality, I'm not in charge of reality, but if I wrote reality, I would love to see that moment of them making up and coming together. Because let's face it, they don't have that much time left. I mean, maybe they do, but who knows?
Or different opinions, still be in the same room, right?
Yeah.
Or the same panel.
Or still share an affection for each other's work or something, or the love for what gave them their career for the most part.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I don't know.
I did
Because
see
there's 3 of them
years
left, right? Well, 4 technically.
Yeah, a few years back, I went to saw William Shatner live, did a stand-up.
Oh wow!
It was actually really, really good. My friend bought tickets, and he's like, "You want to go?" I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah. Was that his one-man show?
He stood up there and talked for like 2 hours, and it was
take my money. Yeah.
Funny, and just awesome. Like so much history, so much knowledge.
Wow.
You realize he is more than Star Trek.
Yeah.
Yet he is Star Trek. And he kept throwing in the price line.
Priceline.com. He must have made a lot of money with that.
I don't know if I've seen him even in a recent interview, and he threw that in there somehow. And I was like, are you doing it now just for the fun, the joke?
Mm-hmm.
Or
that's somebody who reinvented himself big time. Yeah, it would have been nice to see him. I'm sure they asked everybody. How could they have not asked everybody? So you got to assume people that weren't there said no. But then you would think, available. Sorry to interrupt you,
oh, no.
But you would think, how would they say no? So it's one of those confusing things.
Yeah.
Like, why would they leave out Jolene Blaylock? Why would they leave out Jerry Ryan?
The only thing I can always wonder if it's a money thing. Some of them.
They want money. Like their maybe it didn't even get to them. Maybe it went to their representatives and they were like, yeah, 5,000. Yeah. And they're like, no, we're doing this because it's free and start 5,000 or whatever their price is, whatever their fee is. That could have been a thing.
And then you also, maybe after the fact, they realized that everybody else signed on. It was too late or.
Now I want to see a documentary on the making of the Star Trek panels.
So what we need is see what happens next year.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because this year they know what's up. So they know what to expect for next year. Do you think, one, if there will be a post-pandemic, I don't know. Is there a post-pandemic up there yet? Or is it still pandemic?
We're going backwards, I think.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Not at the rate you are, but.
I can't leave the house. It's been 6 months.
I just read today they're closing nightclubs again and bars or banquet halls, I think.
Banquet halls, like for weddings?
Banquet halls, and yeah, they were doing weddings, but it's a joke. I think you could have the giant banquet hall and have 30 people there or something.
Oh yeah, we're not supposed to have more than, what is it, 6 people together?
Yeah.
Which just slows down the spread anyway. But if there is a post-pandemic, do you think they're going to go back to Comic-Con, or do you think they'll have their own Star Trek con like they do in Las Vegas, or do you think it's going to be Zoom from now on?
I kind of hope all of the above, because I actually have never been to a science fiction convention.
Really?
I've been to No, I was actually going to go to one this year.
Science fiction person I know.
I've never gotten around to it. It's always been, I'll go next year. I'll go. And then just never made it to a science fiction one. But one of my buddies wants to go to one, and I was like, well, let's go to one this year. And then COVID. So
did you?
They do a pretty big one in Vancouver every year. They actually do a few different ones in Vancouver every year. So
I wanted to go to LTX, the Linus Tech Tips Canadian tech guy. He has a convention up there. So
okay.
Did you hear about that?
I did not, but it's funny enough. I know who he is from the videos, but and I watch him. I actually watch him often.
All the time.
But a local computer store went out of business about a year or two ago, called NCIX, Netlink Computers. And that's where he actually made a start.
Wow. So that's right by there.
Yeah, it's right out of just out of Richmond, I guess.
Okay.
Right where Vancouver
I'm acting like I know where that is. Canada is
right next to.
There's a line
right next to Vancouver.
Canada.
Yeah, but he started there. Well, we went to they went bankrupt, so they had a whole auction. So I went down and wandered through their warehouses to see if we wanted to buy anything in the auction, and he was in there walking around filming.
So you met him?
I said hi as he walked by me.
In the room with him?
I actually got to say hi because he walked by me, but I basically
awesome.
Hey, and just kept going.
See, now you're even cooler in my eyes because you've met Linus Sebastian.
But I totally lost my train of thought. The
LTT, conventions, Star Trek conventions, sci-fi conventions.
So used to go to a computer one down in Vegas every year.
Okay. What is that called again?
It's called DEF CON.
DEF CON, okay.
So they call it the largest hackers convention.
Mm-hmm.
It's mostly a computer security, but a lot of with more of a hacking point of view.
Did you go for work or just for fun?
Fun.
Oh, cool.
Every year. I went for, I think, 11 years in a row or 10 years in a row.
So you go to conventions, you just don't dress up like a princess from Mario or something.
But I happened to be down there the year that they were shutting down the Star Trek experience.
Did you go?
And so I went. So it was literally the Star Trek experience was shutting down the following week was the Star Trek convention, and then the experience shut down when that ended. And I'm like, well, I'm here, I'm doing it, and I'm paying the extra $100. I'm doing the behind the scenes.
I did the whole thing. Did you sign the book?
Yeah, I think so.
Do you have their certificate?
I do. I have the certificates. I have a picture of me on the bridge.
I did the whole thing. But we'll have to save that for another show. I think we'll do a show on Star Trek experience. I loved it. So, I never flew before in my life, but I flew to Vegas. And I was like, as long as I make it there, if I don't make it back, that's fine, because I went to Star Trek the experience. But of course I made it back, but it was awesome. But
to your original question, behind after the COVID, after everything,
post-play.
One of the things, like stuff like Comic-Con, I've always wanted to go. Can't always make it. And so the best I've ever had is reviews of panels, or some of them make it onto YouTube, depending on the panel. And
for a very short time, some of them. So you got to watch them right away or get.
Yeah, and it would be really nice to see them maybe either behind. Well, they may do a paywall for sure, but it'd be also just even the option that a week after they start putting the panels up.
I've actually been on panels for Quantum Leap and stuff. At Dragon Con. Dragon Con's a big one.
I know the name.
That's Georgia. And living in Florida, it's great for conventions because we have MegaCon and SuperCon, all kinds of cons. So usually about every 3 months, there's a big con down here.
And we luck out here. There's usually a big one in Seattle or two.
How far are you from Seattle?
It's about, depending on how long the border takes to cross, but other than that, it's about a 2-hour drive.
2-hour drive. Okay, that's not bad. Yeah.
The border is anywhere from 5 minutes to 5 hours.
Conventions are fun because, like, you walk by somebody and they're in Starfleet uniform, they're cool. And you could stop and talk like we are talking about stuff we love. So it's just a whole bunch of people together. Because, like, at least for me, people like me, when I go places, I very rarely can interact with people that are like-minded. But when I go to a convention and people are dressed like, a Goa'uld or a Wraith, I know we can talk for an hour and just sit down and share a drink together or something, So
and I think that's even part of the reason never going to convention when I was younger is you've almost learned to hide your Star Trek to the world or your nerdness, but now being a nerd or being a geek is cool. So
yeah, we inherited the Earth.
Finally,
which is awesome. Finally, it's the end times, right? Apocalypse 2020. But you could walk into a room looking like Brad Boimler wearing pink sunglasses and half leather jacket and all that, and people would be like, wow, that's so cool.
And you even get people asking you, where did you buy it, or did you make it yourself?
How did you make it? Wow. Yeah. Hey, we both knew who Linus Sebastian is, so that's something. And you met him. Totally jelly.
Briefly.
Okay, so final thoughts on Star Trek Day 2020.
Hope they do it 2021.
Me too. I've always celebrated Star Trek Day. Some years I've forgotten and celebrated it the next day because it's not on the calendar yet, but hopefully it will be soon. But
Captain Picard Day is the one that I always think of when I think Star Trek.
We always celebrate Captain Picard Day. We make paper crafts. We take out all the action figures. We watched the Pegasus episode with Captain Picard Day in it. So that one I never miss. But I'm glad the rest of the world is catching on to this being a holiday. So we have to come up with geeky traditions. So like around Christmas time, they have a tree and a pole for Festivus. What can we decorate and do for Star Trek Day for the whole month of September? I don't know.
A warp core.
Warp core. Woo, whoosh,
build a warp core.
Whoosh, 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 in the corner of the house. It's an idea. I'd buy one.
My wife would probably kick me out, but yeah.
Yes. That's the best thing about being a single guy is you can do the silliest things and nobody cares. Nobody cares.
I'll live envious of you.
And I will live envious of you, sir. Okay. Well, happy Star Trek Day 2020, and thanks for joining me and talking about it. It was really fun just enjoying the day and then enjoying talking about it with you.
Sounds good.
And everybody listening and watching, what did you think about Star Trek Day? Did you have any thoughts on the panels? Do you have anything to add to the conversation? Something we missed? Something we got totally wrong? Let us know in kind comments below. Well, thank you for joining me, Brent.
Oh, you're welcome. I guess now I'm a recurring character.
You are. So you are my default. Is that a thing?
Perfect. I'll take it.
If not, then yes, Brent. Okay, so...
Don't know what that says about me, but I'll go with it.
It means you're really cool and fun to talk to.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so until next time, I'm Albie.
Well, I'm Brent. Live long and prosper.
Maintain course.
Thank you for listening to Trekaholic, another Star Trek podcast. Please support the show by going to patreon.com/Trekaholic. Send written or audio feedback to trecaholicpod@gmail.com. Leave us a voicemail at 305-707-TREK. That's 305-707-8735. And don't worry, no one will pick up. It's only for voicemail. Visit our website at trekaholic.com for more information. Trekaholic, another Star Trek podcast, is not affiliated in any way with CBS or Paramount. I'm your announcer, Zoe Dean. Trekaholic, another Star Trek podcast, is a Barren Space production.